Good morning. It is 4 o'clock a.m. local time on Sunday, December 4th, 2016. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. I'm getting up and out of this hotel for an early flight to get me back to Massachusetts. Gonna get home, pick up my dog, maybe take a nap. I think Mike and I are planning to record our Talking About Survivor this evening. Right. So Sunday means it's time for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yay! This episode was another one where it's kind of not super continuity heavy in the sense of being part of the continuing story so much as kind of a little bit of bite-sized conflict resolution. But for all that, it's still fun. It does sort of close the loop of the plot with Katara's lost necklace. Also, we got this cool bounty hunter. I actually couldn't remember if they ever said her character's name. No, they must have. In any case, this bounty hunter with her cool giant sloth / star-nosed mole mount that can see by smelling. That was a pretty cool thing, with a tongue that paralyzes and see by smelling and big enough to act as a mount and run really fast. Like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's lots of little cool details there. Also, the voice actress is Jennifer Hale, who plays the female version of Shepard for the Mass Effect trilogy. So basically, our A-plot this time is we have Katara and Sokka meeting up with someone they know from home, which is their first time doing that since most of their tribe went off to war years ago. And so this is very exciting for them, of course, and he not only is able to share all these little stories from home with them, but he seems like a genuinely good guy. He was only left behind because he was injured, so he understands why it had to happen, but he's still wishes he could be off with everybody else. And he gives them the news not only that at least their father was alive the last he saw, but also I'm going to get a message for where I can go rendezvous with him. So you guys could come along if you want. And in the meantime, though, all of this bonding has Aang feeling left out and jealous. And that is understandable if kind of condensed, meaning obviously the amount of the episode that they spend building up that element it's not very long. I mean, I think it's kind of shorthand. I don't know that that's a problem. We get it, but it doesn't feel like it really, it comes on quickly, you know what I mean? But in any case, it leads up to Aang doing probably the worst thing he's done so far in the series, because even though other things he's done had a bigger impact, like running away from the air temple, there was no intentionality there. He didn't intend to get frozen for 100 years. That was an accident. And the running away in the first place was kind of a more, passionate act, as opposed to the idea of deliberately doing something that your friends would be angry about and keeping it a secret for some time. And something like, I've been traveling with you, so I know you're worried about your dad, and I have the information that where you could meet up with him, so I'm going to choose to leave you hanging with anxiety, wondering what's happening, what went wrong. Now, like, see, I think the part that maybe just felt too convenient was the whole bit where Aang's still listening while they're talking about their desire to meet up with their dad, and then leaves just as they start to say, oh, but we can't do that, we have to go with Aang. And, it's, at the same time, like, we can't blame him for feeling left out. Like, on the one hand, a more mature person would probably be better able to understand that not everything is going to be about him. Even as the Avatar, not everything is about him. And if he really cares about his friends, then he should care about their happiness too. And, like, not, because it's one thing to worry that they're going to leave you, but even before that, just feeling left out, because not every conversation is focusing on him. At the same time that we can recognize it easily as not a very mature emotional response, I think we still get it, right? And so for him to keep that hidden represents a significant moral breach. And I'm glad that the characters give it sufficient weight when it's discovered. Because it is significant, right? Like, this is not a fib. This is not being sulky when you're supposed to do your chores. This is kind of a real sort of fundamental, deeply personal breach of trust. Now, he does eventually fess up, because, I want to talk just for a moment about this idea of ice dodging and the whole little adulthood ritual of it, and how, Sokka was too young to do it. It's interesting, though, with as many strong female characters as we've seen, and certainly with Katara here, to this idea that, like, she ends up getting to participate in the ritual, but it's made very clear that this was supposed to be a thing for Sokka, and there's no mention of the equivalent for Katara. So there's just a little bit of a, gender roles thing there.